There's a lot of people that don't get it, that don't get the price of sacrifice, and you barely have time for yourself.
Grammy nominated.
New album coming out. Touring, traveling, killing it.
It's in everyone's best interest for you to be honest and treat yourself like your own best friend and set boundaries so that you don't turn into an asshole. But the daughter and the friend in me feels guilty.
Is pursuing a romantic relationship really the priority right now?
I don't want anyone to be with me that's being like, oh, well, she's almost great. I have to make these concessions. Like, no, you should want to embrace me. Okay, I have more discernment now when choosing, and also more discernment when saying goodbye to someone. I've gotten way better at that.
The internet has dubbed that you're in your lover girl era right now. Confirm or deny? Your shoes are about to get muddy too.
Perfect.
What?
Par for the course for this
I
week.
actually very much enjoyed hearing you say that. How you doing?
Alive. Sleepy, but alive.
Yes.
So grateful.
A Grammy nominated.
Nominated, no Grammy.
TED Talk.
Yeah.
It's your third album coming out now. Mm-hmm. Your book, which I have your book on my desk. I have to grab that. And you're not resting.
I'm resting soon. Because I know I need it. I know I can't burn out.
You believe it's magic.
All right, let me spread you out some more.
It's not that kind of movie.
What do you want to talk about today?
Boundaries.
Yes.
Boundaries, which is ironic because we're here to be open and we're talking about boundaries.
But I'm still going to ask the questions,
Okay.
and then we're also going to talk about boundaries, and you're going to tell me I don't have answers. Stop asking me.
Okay.
And that's the episode. Let's go.
Okay, lit.
I don't know. I think
This episode of Lovers is presented by Bumble. Date your way on Bumble. Hey, girl, hey.
Hola.
I always don't know why I do that. Why do I have to give it a moment? Hey! We've already spoken, and we already had the walk-up moment, so that's that. But old habits die hard. And we're here to talk about boundaries. Mm-hmm. So this is really great, because I can ask crazy questions, and you could be like, I'm not answering that.
Love that.
Okay, great. Can I ask about your love life right now?
What love?
I'm here for your wisdom, not for your drama. But as a friend through proximity, through being in the same city, and having admiration for what you do, I just want to be nosy, just to see what's keeping your skin looking so great.
Okay.
I told you that there's just a new sauce. You've always had a sauce. You've always had za, but there just feels like something so consistent and just entrenched in a deep knowingness that feels new to me.
Oh, like if someone's making me glow.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. The mirror's making me glow. Lack of someone's making me glow. Yeah, it's been applying boundaries. It's been doing the work. I journal a lot more than I used to.
Really?
Yeah, a lot more than I journal. On my good days, I journal twice a day. I journal at night, and then I journal in the morning to document dreams to just help the untapped consciousness. And I have a friend that actually an accountability buddy. I guess you could, an accountability buddy, where we text each other every day. Every day. He's my accountability guy for end of the day journals. But those journals are so helpful because if not, you're just living life on a whim. There's no taking inventory. There's no reflection. You don't even know what's in your fucking cabinet. So it's been helpful because then I can view myself objectively, like therapy, like free therapy. It's interesting when I see reoccurring things, and it helps you see patterns that I'm like, oh, I continuously keep making a choice with this person that's doing me a disservice. I should probably change and stop being insane. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I want to talk to you about boundaries, why that is a unique gift that you're offering to other people right now. But how do you define them?
Being honest and making choices that reflect you having a relationship with yourself that's healthy, and being your own best friend and advocating for yourself, and knowing that you're not doing someone a favor or doing any sort of charity by making a concession in a decision that has to do with them that doesn't sit right with your spirit, because ultimately it's going to feel like you're going to have resentment towards them, and then you're doing a disservice to both of you. You're cheating yourself and you're cheating them from an honest relationship with you. So it's in everyone's best interest for you to be honest and treat yourself like your own best friend and set boundaries so that you don't turn into an asshole with them. You could be the best version of yourself when you have boundaries.
It seems like you've always had boundaries. I feel like from your music is so honest, it's so raw, so vulnerable, so forthcoming and clear, and you're not afraid to call people out. So does boundaries feel revelatory to you? And if so, why?
Yeah, because I used to say, like a few years ago, I was speaking about this, and I was like, no is like my favorite word, because I've just gotten more comfortable with it. But now I think it's also reflective because it was, when I was talking about that, I was very much talking about business.
Yes.
But I've applied it more to personal, to family, to friends, to personal, and it's been helpful. Mind you, I'm still spread thin, but I'd be fucked if I didn't have that word in my arsenal to be able to give loved ones in a loving way, and be transparent about certain shit that I'm just not cool with, that in the past I would have been guilted into, but then would have had resentment and then fucked our relationship.
You said something to me that you're like, I've just come to realize I'm never going to be the best friend that you talk to every day. Like, there's just certain ideals of what, a best friend or a romantic partner or a daughter, what have you, that they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And how for you, you're like, I'm okay redefining what those relationships are to really fit with your reality.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a statement.
Well, no, it was like more of a point for reflection of like, if that feels true, because I'm not you.
Like,
Yet. Wait till my hair grows out, you motherfuckers.
it is true, and it's so nice to have people in my life that don't make me feel guilty for that. It's so nice. Because there's a lot of people that do. And there's a lot of people that don't get it, that don't get the like cost of the price of sacrifice when you are doing something you all understand. This is something you wouldn't be doing it, and it takes so much work, but when you fucking love it, you're just like down for it. But often if someone's living more of a normal life, it's hard for them to understand why you wouldn't be looking to make time to chill on Saturdays or make time to chill on Fridays when you barely have time for yourself, But the people that love you, the people that see you, the people that really that see how much you sacrifice, see how much you work, and you said something on the phone the other day that warmed my fucking heart. And you have no idea, but it warmed my fucking heart. And it was the smallest sentence. We were on the phone, and we were talking. It was a pre-call?
Yeah.
Pre-call for
this. No, it
this.
sounds more intimate if we were just on the phone. We call it a pre-call.
Okay, cool.
Cheapens our moment.
Okay. We were on the phone, and we were talking about... I was taking the phone in the whip because I was jumping from a session to a shoot or some shit like that. And we were going through ideas. And I was a little stumped on what to do, so I was like, I'm here, let's brainstorm. And we went through some, and then we kind of got a semblance of what we could do. And it was just so nice because you were succinct. You were like, we were able to like get some ideas, get it through. There was no like fluff. And then you were like, all right, get off the phone because I don't want to take, I'm sure you got things to do. I'm sure you're super, she said something like that. Like, I know you're probably super busy. So like, it was just so considerate. It was so considerate, and it warmed my fucking heart, and it's so funny, but something like that feels like a love language. Yes. When someone is considerate of your time and knows, and it's like, and it's not like, I want to hear how your day was, I want to hear how you're doing. Of course I want to hear all those things, like, what? But it was it was one of those days, and it was just a sentence that I love to hear. It's a sentence that I'd love to hear.
Yeah, that's so fascinating that that's the sentence, but I also can deeply see why that would be, because I think that's, when you're enjoying time with somebody and you say, I have 30 minutes, and then the 30 minutes are up and you really enjoyed it, and then that person is like, well, this is so good, let's try to extend it. And then now I'm going into panic mode because all I had was 30 minutes. And then after that, we push it 15 minutes more because you felt that was intimacy. But for me, it felt like a rejection of my priorities, and then I left not feeling good about the exchange. So sometimes just letting something be what it was planned on being is like a deep act of intimacy.
Yeah, 100%.
I love this because I've been talking a lot about work-life balance and talking to a lot of successful women, like I had mentioned to you, who are just starting to buck up against the notion that they're supposed to want to work less as their intimate life deepens. Whether that mean they become romantically partnered, they become mothers, or they become caregivers to their parents. Like the onus is on you to like work less to prioritize others. And so this person said something to me that was so profound. She said, when you love your work and that's how you love and appreciate and feel valued in your life, then you have work-life balance.
I think I mentioned this in the call where I was like, I've learned to do a better job, and I've kind of accepted that it's not I can't look at the work-life balance that I'm capable of right now as a daily thing. I have to look at it more bigger picture, which I guess is what a lot of people do, you know? They set out vacations and they're like, okay, I got to look forward to this week, or I got to look forward to that. But I don't know, there's been times in my life when I've been able to like go to yoga before the studio session, and then the studio session, and then go work out, and then go home, and then practice, and then go to bed. And I've been able to have that rhythm for so long, but nowhere in there was family or friends or partnership or, you know, or another passion or being with animals and riding horses or whatever. So I've missed that when I've had that flow, but I've also liked that flow, but it's just impossible to maintain. So I've learned to block out days. Which I may have to do more of.
Yes.
Because I haven't done it in a while. But the daughter and the friend in me feels guilty still. Even though she shouldn't, but I still have that in me where I'm like, well, I still gotta make time, I gotta provide, I gotta, you know?
Your newest song, Goliath, which I'm obsessed with, does this feel like it's uniquely resonating with people? Like me saying this, do a lot of people come to you and say like, yo, there's something about this song that's so special?
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's about your niece, right? Who inspired that song. But the internet has like dubbed that you're in your lover girl era right now. Confirm or deny? Yes, you're finally here. Come on in. This episode is sponsored by Bumble. And as you know, Bumble is an incredible service that allows single people to date on their terms. And I'm so proud that Lovers is becoming a space where single people can champion their own life, their excitement for what another person can bring, but at the same time celebrating who they are and where they are in this moment. Yes, Jessie is killing that, but last week we had Deepika, and OG Lovers and Friends fans, you'll remember this episode would glow.
I had a vision of what my love would look like, and I saw a video that said, when you're looking for love, it's alignment, availability, and then attraction. And it made so much sense.
Alignment, availability, and attraction. I love that formula, and I also love how beautifully it pairs with Bumble's Discover feature. And if you don't know, let me blow your mind for a second. So yes, you can just go on your profile, set your preferences, and swipe. But did you know, if you go to the navigation bar, scroll down to the bottom, and you hit Discover, essentially every day, Bumble curates a list of potential matches for you that they think will align with you based on your shared interests, your dating intentions, and the communities that you are a part of. This essentially means, yes, less quantity in terms of who you're looking at, but more quality matches of people who you genuinely vibe with, who you genuinely align with. And if this sounds exciting to you, you're gonna be thrilled to hear that this is a Bumble free feature that everyone can access. All you have to do is set the intention for what you want, go on Bumble, create your profile, fill it in, especially those 3 areas, and then see what's discoverable for you. Now, I think now's a beautiful time to date your way and date on Bumble. The internet has like dubbed that you're in your lover girl era right now. Confirm or deny?
It's nuanced. It's nuanced. Yeah, I'd say I'm more in my lover girl era. Yeah. But shit, man, the Gemini in me can't just embrace that completely. There's no way. There's just no way. There's still a little backpack of toxicity in there. But yeah, there's a lot more love songs on this next project. A lot more love songs. I used to be like happy song and verse. Like I used to just think they sounded cheesy, and I'd still make them, but I'd give them to other people because for whatever reason, for me, cool was synonymous with dark. And cool was synonymous with like just not the happy songs. And I had to unpack that and understand that it wasn't a thing I needed to shy away from. Like, it could still be dope. It didn't mean that if it was happy, it was not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why maybe it's a Toronto thing. Maybe it's a long winter thing. Maybe it's, I don't know. But, yeah.
When you say like you still want to keep a backpack of toxicity.
Want to? No, I no, not want to. It's just there. It's just there. It's just one of those things. I remember some people being like, years ago I got asked this, and it was so funny because the reaction was so versed. They were like, oh, do you think you sabotage relationships purposely because so much of your music is more on the negative side or toxic or heartbreak or whatever, so you think you consciously sabotage things so that you can have more to work with? And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I've done what I needed to do. I'm still working because I want to, but if I could, now it's not as heavy to say, but in the past it was heavier because I spent so many years battling heartbreak and battling myself and feeling like I wasn't in my own corner and just drudging like uphill, so that when someone would ask me that, I'd be like, you think I would trade, I have projects, there's so many songs in my Dropbox. You think I would trade not being able to feel peace and better and healed over making? It just doesn't make sense. Like, I'd rather be happy, I'd rather be healed if I was making a choice instead of just drowning. And I laughed because I said to them, I was like, if I had the choice, I would. And I'm like, but even, and someone could argue you do, and I obviously did, actually, because I've gotten better and put in the work, and I'm currently getting better. Not to say I'm completely healed, but it's a work in progress. But there's no shaking that. Like, once you have that in your life, once you have those dark days, they don't just erase, they're always there. It's just they're in that section of the library that you don't live in anymore, but it still exists.
Yeah, I think it's there until it's so far back that it's not. I always say that, like, I think that when we live our lives, we write in permanent marker, but you write over it and it's not gone. But the more words, the more layers, the more things, the harder it is to even see like the tips of the R's or the dots of the I's.
Yeah,
because so much has passed.
Yeah.
So I honor that in you. I actually remember when I started, getting more into my marriage, because even when I got married, I think I got married being like, I can get divorced. Like, that's totally fine. That's like my whole
your safety net.
upbringing. My whole upbringing was watching my parents constantly talk about and toy with divorce, and then going through my own romantic relationships where I always wanted a fire escape. I always needed a back door. And then experience taught me that it was good that I had those because I needed them. So it wasn't until a couple years into our marriage that I was like, oh, like, I don't need those anymore. I don't need those shields. I don't need those as fire escapes. I don't need those protections. And I don't need the word divorce. But then I also didn't condemn the version of myself who did. I was like, thank you. Like, thank you for that. Thank you for carrying the backpack. Thank you for the shield. Thank you for carrying those torches. I just don't need them anymore.
Nice.
Do you think for you that, because I'm hearing you say like, oh, I would like that, but that I'm also acknowledging that there's tons of other things. You have an album coming out. You have another book coming out. So much you're putting out there into the world. Is pursuing and working towards a romantic relationship really the priority right now?
It's not the main priority, but if it's meant for me, I'm a strong believer of like, what's for me, no one can take from me. So if it's meant for me, I think it'll just be. And I've been in situations where someone is understanding, or where someone's also in a profession that requires their heart and soul and time and sacrifice, so they understand, which is, I think, the best for me. Because some people have told me, no, you should date a civilian. You should someone that's not in it so that they can help and provide in them. But I've been in that situation and the dynamic feels a little off. Not to say everybody's the same. Who knows? Maybe the person just wasn't meant for me. But as of late, I've dealt with people that are as busy, if not more, and they said a sentence to me that echoed what you said, where we were talking and I was like, all right, I got 10 minutes before I got to go in the house because da-da-da-da. And And then it got to minute 11. I didn't call it, and they were like, "All right, well, we're at the end of my time, so I'll hit you." Yeah, and I was like, "Oh my god, say it again," because it's such a, that's crazy how much I love those kind of sentences. But I do. It was sweet to me. That's a love language. To me, that's considerate. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, we're at our end." Like, it was lit. And then I made time the next day. I made time, and that's the other thing that I've like come to like. Everyone has time. They just have to make it.
Yes.
They just have to make it. So I'm down to do it. I'm down to do it, and I do. It's just, and I do make time. It's just not number one on the list. So if someone's okay with that, then it'll be meant to be.
And it may never be number one. I've actually just like heard people more candidly admit that. That like it's not number one for them. That their work is their number one. So. Yeah, I think that embracing that as a season or as a norm, I think is something really beautiful. Last time you were here, you said that you were like, something about...
You said
that it felt like you had possibly overshared or had overshared.
Yeah.
It was just like so delicious and great. So I am saddened that you were like...
Oh, don't be saddened.
But it was...
Don't be saddened.
But go ahead and cheapen the experience for me.
Oh, shit. Not the guilt.
Can you expand on that more? Like, what does it look like to not be emotionally present in a relationship?
You feel like an idiot when you're done because you feel like you've become this monster. For me, it felt like I became a monster because it felt like everything that he was now listing was things that I had an issue with past partners.
Can you give me that list?
Yeah, like going ghost. I can't believe I did it so often, and I didn't even realize I did it that often, you know? Or not like little things like not following up, but my priorities were just so blatantly clear, and I disregarded that. I was just thinking work, to the point that if I'm not going, I have work to do here. So why would I be over there? Because my partner's over there, but it didn't even occur to me.
So what would you say differently now?
I would say, yeah, bitch, you're right. I could go. I'll go. You're right. I can go see him if I make time. You know, because everybody can make time, but I just wasn't making time. I was making time for work, and everything happens how it's supposed to happen. So maybe that's what I was supposed to be doing at the time, so I could learn the lesson this way. I thought I was scot-free because I didn't say no names, and I don't in my music either. You know, and I'm used to being like my diaries in my songs. I don't normally talk about it, but my life is in my songs. But I'm cognizant of not putting people's names. But it's like I had a lapse in judgment forgetting that he had friends that obviously know that we dated. So then, you know, it don't, like, people can connect the dots. So I think dots just got connected. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. Dots just got connected. Oh, dots just got connected. And then dots just got connected. And he's not as open. Yeah. But I am. So,
right, yeah.
So there's balance. But it's fine. Shit happens. It's not like I said anything crazy. It was just...
Quite the opposite. It was like very flattering. I think it would have felt very healing. But I also acknowledge that people have different, privacy needs.
Yeah, you know when someone says, I don't think it helped my case either, because we were kind of dancing around the idea of trying again after a little, like, kind of. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, and this might be really immature, but I've noticed that it could be a reaction sometimes when something goes left and you move on like nothing. And so then the person A moves on like nothing, so person B is like, oh, okay. Like, I guess it's not a big deal, so person B moves on like nothing. But if person A apologizes, then it gives person B a little bit of moral high ground.
Yes.
And then so where almost you're like, oh, maybe if I ignored it, it would have been better, because when I take more responsibility, it gives you the opportunity to then start putting more bricks and be like, well, carry this, carry that, carry that. So I think maybe that also might have happened a bit, where I took so much accountability that it just allowed for them to almost feel absolved.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that too.
Yeah, especially if that person is like looking for the high ground. But kind of on that note, I actually wanted to go in the same direction that you're going, because as much as I love that you took accountability, as much as I appreciate and honor it, when I'm hearing you talk today and I think about the version of you that felt guilty for not having that time, for not having that ability to devote, for not being able to choose a partner over your passion, now I'm like, would you tell past Jessie a different story today?
Yeah, totally. It's that's cool. Oh wow, cool. This is like a journal entry, because the difference is very stark about how I was feeling guilty about it, and then now I'm accepting that. I'm like, well, but this is my passion, and I don't think maybe we just weren't meant to be together if you're not someone that can. I also was extremist at that point, but it's kind of the experience has shown me that I'd much rather someone that can match it or support it or experience it, so they'll have more empathy towards my choices. But yeah, I've grown in that regard to just become more comfortable with comfortable with myself, comfortable with my life, comfortable with my choices, comfortable with my preferences, with my priorities, and not seeking someone out that respects it, but being able to have more what's the word? Discernment. Have more discernment.
Yes. Ooh, I love the word discernment.
Yeah. Okay, I have more discernment now when choosing, and also more discernment when saying goodbye to someone. I've gotten way better at that, which is one of the things that I mentioned earlier, where I'm like, I'm more comfortable with the no, but more no in my personal life, to be like, you're great, but this isn't for me. You're great, but this isn't for me, because I know what I'm going to need. I know what I'm going to need.
What is the things that you need?
Trust. Space. I need space like the moon. I need space. But trust that space is not an attack on you. It's just a prerequisite for me to be able to accomplish and maintain my equanimity and be a good person, so that when I come to you, I'm great. As opposed to feeling like I'm doing myself a disservice because I'm compromising in a way I don't want to compromise. So yeah, trust, space, intelligence. I need to be challenged, which is something else that I've come to just accept about myself. And respecting the thing. I'm learning to do this more, but not feeling guilty for the fact that sometimes on paper everything could just be great, but the thing needs to be there, the this, and not feeling bad if I don't feel the this.
Not the this, but like the this.
The this, because it could be great. And the thing is, this is my choice. I'm talking about me, right? Because I have great people in my life that I could talk to, and some people are like, well, no one's gonna be perfect. No one's gonna be perfect. So you rejecting or consult, like it's you're gonna have to make some concessions. And then I've had other people that are like, no, don't settle. Like that's a fucking mistake, and it's a mistake you're gonna regret years down the line because you didn't wait for the thing, right? And I think I'm more of the second school of thought. Mm-hmm. I belong more to the second school of thought, where I don't want to just accept. And also, but with that same sentence, reminding myself that I'm not perfect either. So but at the same time, I don't want anyone to be with me that's being like, oh, well, she's almost great, I have to make these concessions. Like, no, you should want to embrace me. That's so funny, because it sounds hypocritical coming from me. I'm like, you should want to embrace me even if I'm not perfect. But someone else could argue that. But if I don't want to, or if one side of the party doesn't want to, then that's indicative that it's not meant to be. You know what I mean? In my opinion, it's indicative that it's not meant to be. It's almost like if you're making concessions, the passion, the this, has to be so much louder that the concessions aren't even relevant. But if the concessions that you're making are pointing little, like they feel like little thorn in your side, then maybe that might be an indication that you are being a victim to the urgency that you might feel in your adulthood, and that this person isn't for you. You're just rushing to settle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but haven't you ever experienced something that just felt right?
Yeah.
So then you already know what that is.
I know what that is, yeah. Where it felt right, but even on paper it didn't look right. Mm-hmm. Those examples, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, you could experience that with a worker, with a family member, with there is imperfections, there's flaws, there's things that you have to accept, but it just works.
But it feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I mean too about this is there's this magic, there's this chemistry, there's this aura, there's this pull, but it's not actually functional. right? So I think that like this to me feels like,
This is function to you?
yeah, this feels like function to me.
Wow.
What did this feel like? What was this for you?
I don't know. I can't even. Maybe my this is peace.
You know why that like hits for me? Because I think that peace is function within a dysfunctional life. Not that your life is dysfunctional, but I think the life of an artist. Well, Byron was telling me that you signed 4,000 posters last night, that you were up shooting a music video. Like, your life is chaotic, right?
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And I think as an entertainer, being at the mercy of the algorithm, the record labels, like there's already so much dysfunction and chaos, I think, by virtue of what you have signed up to do.
Yeah.
So I feel like peace would be function.
Would be functional. Wow, what a fucking insight. Yeah, that sounds about right. I know, for real. You can see the inside of my head right now.
Well, I really want to like sit with and like, I want you to write me a poem about I need space like the moon. I think that line, it deeply resonated with me and probably with other people, but I would love to know what that meant for you.
It just means not feeling pulled because the world's pulling at me. So if you don't pull at me, I'll come to you. It means also like liking the same things. Like when I need space, I mean like I'll go camping, and I go camping by myself. Or I'll go to the beach and I'll go to the beach by myself. And the reason I do it is because I just like the like, and sometimes for me, a love language is being able to do that with someone that understands the like, and doesn't need from me. They can just be next to me. That is great. I love that. I love that because it doesn't feel laborious. Because sometimes you need to be on or present, and sometimes I'm just tired and I just want to be. Mm-hmm. And if you can be next to me without requiring anything of me, I love that. It's so nice.
This was written about friendship, but it said like the greatest gift of friendship is just witnessing. It's not necessarily influencing or changing or challenging. It's just like witnessing, like being able to actually see somebody for as they are and just watching. And I feel like that also feels true for love as well. Mm-hmm. In witnessing you and all that we kind of talked about, to bring it full circle, because I talked to you about your dripping sex appeal, and I'm like, I need the secret, I need a tip. Like, how can the girlies like duplicate or replicate some of the vibes and the energies that you're on? Maybe you don't have a like sexy eye triangle answer, but you might have something for you that has been resonating.
You know, it's one of those things that like when I was a kid, they sell you Disney about like, so it's inside that matters. And yes, inside matters, but we live in like, this is one of our senses, it's one of our predominant senses. So what you see is obviously gonna like affect it. It's one of the first things you receive. So that's another thing I had to come to terms with later on in life, but it's a win-win if you can be healthy and like and feel healthy, and you look in the mirror and you like what you look and you like how you feel. Like it's just it shows on the outside, and it's gonna help you because you exude that. And people sometimes aren't just gonna walk around and project. People react to what's in front of them, you know. And if you're exuding that, then people are gonna react to whatever it is that you're giving off. And if you're giving off that confidence, it's life is just easier, in my opinion, for me. So yeah, focusing on my health in all regards.
There's nothing you can give me about the power of squatting, because I feel like you got the best knees.
That's funny. I do a lot of hot yoga. I do a fuck ton of hot yoga. When I'm lucky and my schedule allows, I literally do that shit every day. I'll go every day. I'll go either before the session or after the session, but that helps so much. And when I say my health in all regards, like, I mean, physically it helps, but mentally, oh my God, I just feel so much better. My team laughs because they know, like, if it's been a crazy week, Biz will be like, you ain't go to yoga this week, huh? Or you didn't go to yoga today, huh? Like, they could feel it in me where I'm like, oh, for example, this week, I need it. This week, I fucking need it, and I can't wait to go on Saturday. Also, just being more comfortable with my sexuality in terms of, like, I'm grown, you know? And before I was a bit more reserved years ago. But I'm an artist, and sexuality is part of the human experience, and I'm just talking about my life. And also, I'm not nobody's motherfucking parent. For anybody that's like, oh my god, this is too extreme. Like, watch your own fucking kids, man. I'm like, watch your own fucking kids. Control what they watch. I'm just gonna be myself, and they're gonna grow up too. So, if this is a lot, prep yourself for what's coming. But I'm not nobody's fucking parent. I'm just being myself, and my only responsibility as an artist is to be true to my experience. So that's what I'm doing. I'm being true to my experience.
I think you're an incredible example of sexual expression, sexual freedom that I would be honored for my kids to watch and emulate and feel inspired by.
I wish everyone felt that way.
I mean, it's just effortless. It's easy. It's true to yourself. Like, I think in a world where you watch every other artist feel pressured to sort of fit a mold, to see you break out of it and do it with such strong knees is it's really, really beautiful to watch.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know if you need the hair to make it work. Like, if it's the whole package just really works. What can people look forward to with this new album? What are you looking forward to?
Ooh, there's more Lover Girl songs because I'm in my Lover Girl era, as they say. My favorite song changes every day. There's one called Couldn't Be Me that I love. That's also real life. Oh, that's one of the toxic songs for everyone. That's like, we need toxic Jessie back. That's one of the heartbreak ones. The cover is my grade 8 yearbook, little square. And on it, it's so sick. It's so fucking sick. It shows like, name, heroes, favorite sayings, ambition. And name, obviously, like it says Jessie Reyez, but name, Jessie Reyez. Heroes, like my parents for putting up with my insanity. And what was the other? Oh, favorite celebrity, I put me. And then where it says ambition, it says achieve fame, go platinum, get rich.
Wow.
Yeah,
and
14. That's legit.
Yeah?
That's legit. There's some information redacted, like one of my nicknames was Taco, and I was like, I'm not going to put this out there because motherfuckers going to start calling me Taco. But some information's redacted, but those are the ones that are still there.
That's such a Toronto nickname.
Taco.
I love that. I love that for you.
Yeah.
I want to also say, too, like, I love the Lover Girl version of you. We talked about this last time, that sometimes I feel like a lot of R&B sung by women doesn't feel accessible or inspiring to me because it's like second place music. Like,
Oh, wow, like side girl anthems?
yeah.
Damn.
It's like, I wasn't chosen, didn't work out. Like, I feel like I'm always at the short end of the stick. And so I love your first place music.
Hey,
maybe that's why,
first place
I
music.
love it. And I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
The end.
The end.
Let's
Thank
go.
you. I'm gonna, you know what?
Let's move slow. Everybody move slow. Move slow. I got it. There we go.
You sound like Paul Wall. Move slow, homie.
I just adore her. Jessie's new album, Paid in Memories, featuring Lil Yachty, Six Flag, Lil Wayne, Sam Smith, Ari Lennox, Big Sean, and the list goes on, comes out on March 28th. So let's all band together, run it up for our hot girl with the strong knees and the incredibly powerful mind. Jessie is such a delight to follow on social media, so please make sure you go and check her out there as well. And while you're checking things out, if you are a fan of the Lovers podcast, you're going to love loversbyshan.com. This is a website that's a one-stop shop where you can really go deeper here. You can join the newsletter, take the free quizzes, and if you're really keen to connect, you can also join the new Lovers community. Speaking of which, why don't I bring in some of the current community members right now so we can discuss our key personal findings from Miss Reyez' insights on boundaries and intimate bandwidth.
There's this anti-capitalistic, anti-hustle culture movement out there, which is warranted and very necessary. However, there are some people who like to hustle and who are in their hustle season. Does anybody else resonate with that, with feeling guilty for actually enjoying to work?
It's interesting you raising that point because it's one part of the interview that stood out with me when she spoke about, doing a work of passion and fully embracing it. And it's not something that I've seen many women doing, at least that openly. With men, it's sometimes like normalized. Men will prioritize their career above everything else, and it's normal. But when women do that, it seems like it goes outside of the norm. And I've seen many women struggling with that balance between passion, work, relationship, and and that the social expectation behind it. And so a woman unapologetic, claiming her passion and as a priority, even above relationship, was honestly something that was refreshing.
A lot of Latinas can relate to the pressure from your family to live close, to take care of your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, and to make sure that your family is okay. And when you're in your 30s, even, you know, that pressure as to like why you don't want a family or a relationship first is tough.
In the previous episode that Jessie was on 2 years ago now, she was basically saying, I realized that in my last relationship, I didn't do a good job of prioritizing them over work. I didn't do a good job. And I'm the reason why this relationship ended, and framing that in like a negative light. And here she was back 2 years later, instead of doubling down on that, instead reflecting on that and saying, well, maybe it wasn't that I should have done things differently, but I should have communicated my priorities differently, or I should have honored my priorities differently. So I'm curious if anyone can relate to that.
I've had to realize like 99% of us are completely controlled by our fears and insecurities through a vast majority of every single day. But you don't even know that because you're just reacting. You're just trying to keep yourself safe. But like when it comes to relationships, especially, people's insecurities really gets the best of them, and they latch that onto you and say that you need to create your behavior to make me feel safer. When you're trying to make somebody happy, especially somebody that you love, like you lose yourself in that very, very quickly. And that's definitely happened to me before. I remember just apologizing profusely on my own birthday for having a good time. And apparently I had a little bit too much of a good time. It made my girlfriend at the time so uncomfortable, and she walked out, so I had to leave the party, my own party. But you want to be proud of yourself for like, you know, for caring about somebody so deeply, but you also feel like, dang, I really like made myself so small to make somebody else's fears that much more comfortable for them to stay in, not even get rid of, to stay in.
I actually went back and watched the interview from 2 years ago, and the body language completely changed in the way that Jessie was speaking about herself and her accomplishments and who she is in that moment. But to kind of piggyback on what Mike said, I think it also takes a special kind of accountability to yourself to be like, oh, whoa, like I see what I did wrong, but here's what you didn't understand either. And I can't shoulder this because I didn't give you what you want, because this is a partnership of two. Like we needed to have this like conversation to figure out how I can be empowered in my role and you can be empowered as my lover.
I actually wanted to build on what you just said, Mimi, because I remember that of the interview when she talks about being a Gemini and kind of joke around carrying a bit of toxicity. And at first, it sounded a bit like she was normalizing unhealthy behavior. And then I realized that this is something that authentic people tend to trigger. They trigger a sort of discomfort to other people by just being themselves and embracing fully who they are.
It made me think about this. You know how she was saying, like, I'm looking for this, and I called it function, she called it peace. I'm like, maybe this is acceptance, because toxic is a label that is really more reflective of the environment than the individual or the substance, right? So in one environment, something can be toxic. In another environment, it can be integral. So maybe she has come to label her ambition, her lack of time, and her need for alone time as toxic, because in every environment that she's been in romantically, that has been what it's been labeled. But maybe when you are in the right environment, those parts of yourself become celebrated and, dare I say, unconditionally accepted. And maybe that's what this is. But I'm curious, when you guys were hearing her talk and she's like, I'm looking for this, what would you label this, either if you're thinking on her behalf or on your own?
I guess it is a sense of peace, but being witnessed without your whole vision of you being shaken up. And that comes from someone feeling like an extension of you.
Friends, I am loving this conversation. Unfortunately, I gotta go on mommy time right now, but I'm gonna let the chat keep going so you guys can keep talking, and I'll say goodbye to you guys. And we'll see you next week. Say we'll see you next week. Little dirty face. big shout out to the Lovers by Shan community. This is a space that I created for people who love love. It's for those of us who are passionate about reaching our intimate potential. On my site, you're going to find an AI trained on 20 years of my work where you can ask any questions. You'll also find free quizzes and resources, plus a place to sign up for my weekly newsletter, and last, but certainly not least, information on the Lovers by Shan community. If you want to be a part of intimate conversations just like the one you just saw, join the waitlist, and hopefully I'll meet you soon, lover.